You're sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired, altcoins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more solves.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Hello. Good afternoon. Excuse me. Welcome back, everybody. I was trying to flick off the mic so I could cough just before the intro ended, but I actually clicked skip the intro and start right away. That's because I'm rusty as fuck. My name's RT. Welcome back, guys. It's Hxro Labs Live. Or is it DeltaFi? I don't know. It's Wednesday, but I'm on my own, so we're going to call it Hxro Labs Live. I don't know how to get a hold of Dan and Rob right now. They're so goddamn busy. Hxro Network is in its final, let's say, leg of a marathon that has been the last year. Sound and video good. Yes. I love the quick feedback, guys. Appreciate that. After last week's, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, live stream, which was my first in months, and I wasn't using Restream because at the very last second before we went live, I realized I don't have the password. Something happened, something changed. You know how shit goes over 3 months. Things expire. And so I just went live direct on YouTube. And to do that, you actually have to push this funny little button up top that says go live. Go figure, right? And I didn't do that. So there was just enough people in the chat talking that I thought I was live for half an hour. That was last time. So I feel like we're on the up and up. But, still feeling rusty. I was in Barcelona last week for a week. And I was awake all night because that's the way it is in Barcelona. Things open, like dinner's at 9 p.m. and then clubs don't even open until 12:30, and then everyone's walking home at 6 a.m. And then the conference, of course, is kind of like North American, like normal organized. So it starts at like noon and runs till 10 or whatever. So it was kind of a full day, full night kind of experience. A lot of fun there. See if I can pull up some images. The guys over at Magnus took me out. It was really nice to see them. We've hired a lot of people this year. We've hired about 4, which is a lot if you consider that we are literally like a group of crypto bros that banded together and started our own fund 4 years ago, and now we're hiring people. And so to get them to come and see us in person, having worked with them now for 6 months, was a lot of fun. It was special. So these guys took me out. It was my birthday last Saturday. These guys took me out. We went to the casino. Degeneracy was had. Let's see if I can pull it up, man. There was some pretty sick stuff that even as like somebody who's been gambling a long time, I don't know if I can even pull this up here. I don't know how you get a picture from Telegram onto the screen. Anyways, it was, oh yeah, I can just like paste it onto the thing. Anyways, I was gambling a lot when I was younger. Man, we rep. Let's go flip over here. I gotta flex this. This was one. This was like right out of a movie. We were it was the break. We went to play a poker tournament at 5 p.m. And it was on break. And we walked over to the roulette table. My buddy started smashing down these $100 little chips here, or €100 chips or whatever. And I just, I'm a little less degen. So I just threw down a couple €100, put all these fivers around. And I said, let's go 8. 8's always my number. And we hit it. Second spin of like 3 that we played. And we just, I think he hit like 12k euro on this thing. These are all hundreds all around that. I had a bunch of 5s. It was fun. Dancing around, the kind of shit clears the other tables. Y'all come looking over. It was good. It was fun. Now, little did I know, as I went and played blackjack a little later, this guy, good buddy of mine, he kept doing this shit. And he actually ended up hitting 2 more numbers. And so he cleaned up, man. We were talking like friggin' Casino Royale type chips. I'd never seen such a thing. I got to hold one of the twos earlier on that first spin I showed you guys. I got to hold one of those, but this guy, buddy of mine, co-founder. So yeah, we had a good night. These guys, I'm gonna show the picture. We're not like a non or anything. So these guys took me out. So big thanks to you guys if you're watching the stream tonight, man. This was so much fun. You can see it here. I was euphoric. Pupils dilated. 4 a.m. probably. The homies took me out. So we had a really good time last week. I'm exhausted, feeling fresh. You know, what's that mean? I'm in my lane, greased up, moist, ready to go. Anyways, thanks guys. Yeah, midway through the 30s. It's a little weird, you know, not gonna lie. It's a little strange. But the market's bullish this week, and that's given me a ton of energy because, as you guys know from the last stream, we weren't really waiting around. Number go up, ooh, bull, okay, let's get in. It was more like, let's see if we can spot things on the chart that give us signals before the price goes up. And that's exactly what we got. And it's really fucking satisfying when things, you know, you analyze them. And I'm going to get a better chart here, and then we're going to look at it. But it's really satisfying over time, again and again, when you can analyze things, see them come together, make a bet, because it still doesn't feel good. I mean, you guys remember down here, bulls are in control. It didn't feel like it. Felt like the bulls were getting beat down, like they were just about on their last breath before we puked over the edge of this 200-day moving average on the, 200 on the 3 day. So like 600-day moving average, or whatever the fuck. Right? And so, but it's the standard thing, right? You get the huge dump down, wait for the big dip, rip up, and then get that reload zone. What was this? The Russian invasion. Good luck looking at the news and thinking, I better buy something today. But if you just look at TA, if you can have an objective, analytical view of the market and try to ignore the noise, that would have been an interesting buy. Personally, I chickened out too. It was pretty fucking crazy. So I didn't want to buy that. However, after this 3 day confirmed, right? The daily and weekly did not confirm until much later, but the 3 day did. And that's one of the reasons I like to look at some multiple time frames, see if I can find a reason. You know, because of the volume, I was just leaning bullish. I thought, damn, you know, I've seen this before, right? Big, long, drawn out thing. Everyone bragging about stables, everything. So I'm looking for a technical reason to get a setup to fire long for me so I can buy the dip and like still follow my plan. Well, we got that here. And then it dipped right into the reload zone of that. So you drag this up. You say, okay, we got this. Came up here. Here's the higher low. This is where I want to get long if this is the confirmed uptrend. Well, how'd that work out, right? And then we get a week where I'm just in Barcelona. I'm like, oh shit, already long. Now, am I sitting there in like fresh, brand new levered longs, like making $500,000 a minute on this rally? No. But did I deploy some of the stables that I had been building through this? Yes. And it felt good. Felt all right. Now, we've made a higher high now. I think this is the beginning of a broader trend. I don't know if we're going to go to new all-time highs yet. I don't think that matters. I don't think that I sit here as an analyst and say, I need to know that. I need to predict that. I don't think that's important. What's important to me is analyze the trend and see when it reverses. Now, right now, it has reversed to the upside. We are in an uptrend, period. That's just the way it is. Whether, you know, Mr. YouTube says 52K is going to be the top and that's the end of it, you know, watch my video. Here's the signal I discovered. I don't care. I saw something like that last night. That's why I'm referencing that. That is not my job as I see it. My job as I see it, being an analyst and then a trader, I would almost say secondary to an analyst is I'm a trader because I like analysis more. And I work, you know, I'm co-founder at that fund and I'm kind of like an analyst there. You know, I like to share what I think our thoughts are and we help position ourselves accordingly. We're in an uptrend. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, in an uptrend, when do I want to buy? Obviously, on the higher lows, right? You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have more ups and more higher lows. So I want to buy on those higher lows and consistently, frequently, often, I find that they come in during these, what I call pump chaser zones or PCZs. I put the higher low question mark there, sort of like, is this where we will get that? And if it's a really lazy market and you're looking for a trend reversal, it's these RLZs, these reload zones, a little deeper down. And if it's, you know, this to me was pretty strong. Now, look, we didn't get rising volume here. It's not like this massive breakout volume. So I'm not going to sit here and say I think we're going to new all-time highs this year. You know, we have the bond inversion, which I wish, of course, Rob was here to talk about more of the TradFi guy. He would talk a little bit more about the yield curve or the whatever the inversion is that always signals a recession every single time it's happened. Let me just drink some of this because my lady made me a smoothie. I don't want to waste it. I said, get me something I can snack on stream because she offered to get me a snack. That'll do. All right. Oh, that's delicious. Okay, so we got a new high here, right? We had the high. It was a little cheeky. Some people didn't believe in it. They said, nah, I want to see it on the daily. Okay, cool. Well, we did get it on the daily eventually. Arguably right here. I would have said, okay, lower high. Oh, higher high, nice little dip. Local pump chaser zone right here, a little PCZ, and then go. So there was a few ways to play this. All that matters is that, you find a setup that you can identify, that you have criteria for, that you can spot repeatedly in both directions ideally, and then execute. And that's why you see these fibs on all my charts. It's just the same shit over and over and over and over again. But it's always looking slightly different, but with the same general criteria. Now, here's why I think this could be the end of the initial breakout. As we're coming into this sort of 200-day moving average, which is a huge sort of moving average that people like to watch, both ETH and BTC are coming into that together, which is not unusual. In fact, it's fairly common. They tend to move in unison. We've had basically this many days straight up, a couple little reds in between, but basically what is that? It's like half a month, a couple weeks straight up. So I would not be shocked at all here for us to pull back. That wouldn't be bearish unless you're like trading short time frames, right? You say, oh yeah, like for 3 days I'm going to be bearish. Cool. And then you look here, we're going to get a pump chaser zone, a little PCZ, yeah. And that might look like a throwback down into like 3,000, just below 3,000, which would make sense to me on ETH. You can look left here, try to find some levels. I think this 0.5 kind of aligning here. There's a few little nodes here on the VPVR, lots of volume traded through here, so there should be some good support in there. And looking back at that, if we then continue higher, which I think we will, this kind of volume, we've got the whole talk about the merge coming, whatever that ends up meaning technically. What it will mean objectively, which is what people are talking about, is the inflation reducing 10x. So if there was 10 new Ethereum being created each day, now there will only be 1. It's incredible. Now fees are still getting burned. This is going to be a bullish catalyst on price, on supply demand. That's acting directly on the most core fundamental thing that drives price, supply and demand. So that should be really bullish, and it should get priced in along the way. In other words, price should appreciate into that event, not just as a reaction to that event, because we see it coming. So we're gonna start pricing it in. Is it fully priced in yet? Probably not. Guaranteed not. I don't know. I can't guarantee, but probably not. I think the most likely outcome to some kind of counter trend rally here to the upside is that we end up somewhere in this short reload zone, even if that's just a quick wick into the 618. So no, I do not think we're done here. In fact, I think there's a great trade setting up here. And I know the guys over at TRI are licking their chops here, looking for a bot trade. Now you can actually Google this. So I'm not really spilling the alpha, like spilling the beans, leaking their school program. But there's a very common ABCD continuation trade setup that people like to hunt over there called the bot. And it's a trend continuation trade that basically says like, oh, you can spot this, and then you find criteria to catch like the second part of what ends up being like a matched sort of ABCD. Now I'm going to do a piss poor job of quickly explaining it to you here. It is something you learn in the level 1 program over there at TRI. So I'm not going to like get too far into it, but I think we can Google it. Let me just Google it and I'll pull it up because it's been tweeted before. So let's say the bot setup. I'm pretty sure it's just like, maybe it's on the website or it's on Twitter. I don't know. I Googled it the other day. Images. I'll just show you. Yeah, there it is. Oh, Beamish. Beamish tweeted it out once upon a time. So now it's on Google. So here's an example of it. You guys see that? I lost you. The preview? Yeah. Here's an example of it, right? So you get the measured move up, which is this purple line. It has to pull back either between this 33 and 66, which is a custom fib just made for this bot. And then you got to find 3 higher lows. In this case, it was here, and then it was here. I don't know if you can actually see my mouse on the screen. I don't think you can. Anyway, so that's an explanation of it. And then there's these little rules as you go up and on the right side. And as you can see, there's a red area for managing your risk and then a green area for managing your potential reward. Anyways, so I think a bot is going to set up probably across the market after we get a little cool down here. And that's just like if I had to guess. I'm not selling the Bitcoin I accumulated through this trough. I'm not selling any of the ETH, at least not this minute after this stream, because actually a lot of the analysis I'm doing today, I'm doing right now live with you. So I may have a new bit of insight after the stream and go and, finagle some positions, but I'm not in any like excessive positions. Like I'm still 45, 50% cash. So if anything, I'd like to add through what could be setting up for the next leg here. So yeah, comfy in my lane. How you guys doing? Let's check in with the chat. I just kind of came out with a hot, energetic, a little bit of fake it till you make it kind of energy today, because like I am pretty hurting. Like just need to like go for a run or something. I need to get outside, and it's been fucking snowing for 2 days out of 3 since I've been home. What the hell? When I left, I was told there would be no more snow. Thought I'm going to go to Barcelona. When I get home, it's going to be spring. So not so much. I'm going to look at chat. Johannes, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Freedom Hacking says, have you all seen the alpha leaks about Apple and Strike? It's Jack Mahler, which is like the Bitcoin sort of Lightning Pay, the guy who, I'm pretty sure the one who talked a lot about El Salvador and Bitcoin. That's where I recognize the name. Says, seems like he's teasing about Apple integrating Bitcoin payments or something. So that's pretty cool. That would be very bullish, I'm sure, on price. Whether or not that's a good thing, bad thing, Lightning Network, I don't know. Not really a Bitcoin guy. I have a bunch of Bitcoin, percentage-wise. Like I hold some Bitcoin, but, I people are like, oh, Lightning Network, ooh, this, wrap Bitcoin, it's better. Like, I don't know, don't care. I kind of care, but like not enough to go. Actually, saw some Bitcoin guys today talking about how toxic they find some of the Bitcoin maxi discussions, just looking for narratives that fit their thing and not really being willing to learn about anything else. It's kind of sad. I'm really a price action guy myself. This is dope. Hey, David, great to see you, man. Yeah, 50% cash. Look, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, right? When I came on the stream and I just said, look, I got up late, I will admit. Let's go back to Bitcoin. I got up as high as 78% cash through the extreme fear, where I just was like, fuck this. I don't want to give this away. I'm not willing to risk this. I'm not comfortable risking this. And so I got up as high as 78% cash, sitting, yielding, whatever, being ready to deploy when something looked like it could carry me in a nice long position. And it's not like I was 78% cash at the peak. That would have been sweet. But I ended up somewhere at 78. And then through here, I was deploying back because I just realized like this is a place where whether or not I feel like I was late to the cash position or not, this is where I want to be deploying mostly after this confirmed. And then through here, I was just like, if I'm not deploying capital here in a market, what am I doing, right? After my setup fires, after months of downtrend, blah, 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 maximum fear, peak fear. Let's go look at the fear and greed index. Where are we? Go figure. We're in greed. Everyone's suddenly much more comfortable buying. That's sort of the nature of it. In fact, this sort of reflects that. It's not a coincidence. It's somewhat by design. But also just looking historically, and I've charted this out. In fact, we might just pull that up right now. Historically, let's look at the fear and greed. Excuse me. Historically, you can see there's preferable times, usually during extreme fear, where you can get a nice little rally, even in a bear market, right? Even in the big, nasty bear market, it was these extreme numbers on there, like sub 20, where in most cases, in the weeks that followed, you got like a multi-week rally. Now, in this case, it stung a bit, right? I put this chart out initially here. Not saying I guarantee we're going to bounce, but just saying this is, getting into an area where I like to look for longs. And it didn't really come. Didn't come at all. Then we had a war breakout, really started off by nuclear power, which I think scared the shit out of anyone. The other day, I read a tweet, which means it must be real. It said a Putin spokesperson basically said, not only like nobody's talking about nuclear weapons, nobody's even thinking about talking about nuclear weapons, like kind of like shut the fuck up about like, let's just relax. So I thought that was kind of cool as far as like bringing the pulse down. And that's the kind of thing you get, right? Where you get like, okay, it's like, ooh, there's an invasion. And then the fear is so extreme. And then over the next few weeks, the reality sets in that it's like, yes, two countries are now at war. One is invading the other. The world's not going to come to an end, unfortunately. I mean, and it is really sad. It's fucked up. There's a lot of really messed up stuff going on over there. But, you know, markets resume. Life goes on. And oftentimes it's the event that marks the most fearful part. And then the actual thing happening over time that it just kind of like unwinds. And we saw the same thing with COVID, right? Down here. It's like, oh my gosh, we're having a pandemic. And then through the whole pandemic, it was actually like this crazy bull market. So we'll see. But right now, I see more W's on the chart than I see M's. I see a big fat W on sort of high time frames. And so any dips we get down into here in the next few days. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, you might be one of them. You might know somebody. You might be in a chat with some of these people. I don't know. But there's a lot of people who are you know, they were offside down here, sitting in cash. Now they're offside again, rushing in the last couple of days, maybe, you know, FOMOing in, saying, I'm sick of this shit. I'm going to go in. This is a 3-day, of course. So maybe a daily is a little easier to look at. And now are, I think, more than likely just going to get squeezed here a little bit. And so if you're getting leveraged up here, saying, yes, the bull is back, which I think it is. But oftentimes when you're drawn into really greedy longs, that's when you get the squeeze. And if you're not positioned and ready and doing it the way that I've learned to do it, this is the way, you know, this is why I've learned to do it this way. Because every time I rush in, I usually end up puking my position, what ends up being like the local low, which is oftentimes this 382. So I'm going to actually wait to try to fill here. And then I'll get maybe a little closer to 30% cash. Like I'm not going to go all in here. I just don't see a reason to. I think cash has so many uses. Aside from being able to get a yield on it, it also just gives you an opportunity for things, you know, even mid-bull. Just say 20%, you're like, as a rule, I'm going to always maintain 10, 20% cash so that if, you know, somebody comes along and just whispers like, oh, something's coming tomorrow that's like, blah, blah, blah. I want that liquidity to be available. I mean, you guys know how it is. Sometimes there's just like this holy fuck me opportunity that just pops up out of the blue and money falls from the sky. But to get it, you've got to have some liquidity. And then, you know, and then you're like, oh no, what do I sell? And then you're selling things at inopportune times. And it's just, personally, I've learned over time to never be all in, all out. Like always kind of live between the margins. So even if I think we're really, really bullish here and going to go to all-time highs and all that stuff, I'm still not probably going to just smash 100% cash long. STG was a really good example of having cash on hand because, and I'm really proud of myself because last time I streamed for the first time in like 3 months, someone would say, oh, you disappeared because of the bear market. I'm like, well, I disappeared because I wanted to take a break. I was stressed. Frankly, you know, January and February really got to my head. I already struggle with just like the cold, dark season. And we had just moved. So bless, you know, we got a house, but we're in a new neighborhood and we're just kind of like out here, right? Inside day after day after day, you know, baby. So it was just kind of getting to me. I took a little break, which maybe didn't even help. Like we just nothing to do playing video games. Point is I came back right in time. And not by accident. I mean, I came back because I saw some opportunities. I thought, I better get these fucking out there because, you know, it's time to pay attention. And Stargate was one of them. Now, this is one. No, Step has something interesting we can talk about a little bit later. Just a big token unlock tomorrow. So maybe that's going to mark the low for a bit. But yeah, Stargate Finance is dope. You guys have obviously been hearing about it now since we spoke about it 2 weeks ago. All over Twitter today, having released their Series A cap table, which is so stacked. I mean, ridiculously stacked. Now, I don't often give much credit to like celebrity endorsements. In fact, you know, usually they're like a red flag, but in this case, obviously a little bit different. I don't see this one. I'm like looking for big red flags on the cap table after you see names like Sequoia and A16Z leading with multi-chain or multi-coin and Alameda now coming out. Sam Trabucco basically came out. He's like, yeah, so about that auction, yeah, we ate it all up, but we really like it. So it's okay. And we're going to hold it for 3 years and we're not going to, you know, we're going to waive our vote rights. I mean, hey, it's an open market. They bought the whole goddamn thing in the same block in which it launched. Any one of us could have done that. We just would have had to have the bot that does it jack up the fee high enough to beat them. Their bot probably says, always beat the other guy's bot and they have the deepest pockets. I don't know. How do you compete with that? But theoretically possible. Is there not one other fund that was doing the same thing and they outbid them? Is Alameda like the only one in the world that wanted that thing? I don't know. It's interesting. Anyways, I think it's cool that they got it. And I think it's even cooler that the team came out and said that you can basically, they did another auction today. And because I pre-approved, because I thought I'm going to be sneaky. Remember we got off the stream. I was like, yeah, I'm going to cut the stream now because I got to go get ready. I got my MetaMask set up. I'm there and I was like, sold out. It was like classic, like 2017, ICO mania. Anyways, so because I pre-approved that, I got to buy some today. So that was fun. Anyways, look at this chart. It came out, it lay flat. I did not load up as much as I should have here, but at the airport on the way to Barcelona, I saw this candle. It was like at $1 and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This thing's going to go. This is ridiculous. Like I'm just, I don't have a setup. It's not my little dip. It's not my PCZ, but I'm so bullish on this thing. And it was like a 200 million market cap or whatever it was, even lower. So I aped in a nice little chunk. Again, having cash on hand, important. I was in the airport. I wasn't about to sit there and like, oh, no, what do I sell? What do I unlock? I just had some cash and I aped it into this. And before I landed, it was up 50%. But before I got home, it was up 4x. So, STG's been good. It's been fun for the bulls. I think this PCZ tag the other day was very, very opportune. I did not set up limit orders on FTX, which I should have. So I woke up and it was like kind of up here a little bit. So I added after having sold a little just because it looked really tired. And I was in Barcelona. I thought, I don't want to go home. And then I'm like, I've lost everything I got on this trip. So I cut some here, bought it back here. Nice breakout today. This thing looks picture perfect as far as TA goes. We got the initial big burst of volume. I do wonder how that reflects now. Just overall, just less volume. Is there enough there to get us to the new highs? But there's one thing I can see for sure from the volume, and that is that the bulls are in control. Bulls are in control. Bulls are in control. Bulls are in control. Now, of course, we're just looking at PancakeSwap. We could go look at some other ones. I chose PancakeSwap because it has the deepest DEX liquidity that I can chart. It's not curve. So it'd be really nice if we could somehow chart curve pool. That's where the majority of the trading is happening, but our bots are pretty on point for this one. So I'm just charting the deepest liquidity and highest volume that I can find, which is like Pancake or Trader Joe. But yeah, man. You know what? TS says, do you think time is dead forever? I don't know. I think that there's better opportunities in the market, so I haven't really looked back at it right now. I eventually did cut the last of my wrap memo. Actually, before the rage quit, I just, I traded in the rage quit area a little bit, where it was like, oh, they're going to be a rage quit, so I bought low and sold some on the way up to that price, whatever. I traded it a bit, but admittedly, should have traded it more. It was such an easy trade. They were basically saying, we're going to give you $37,000 for every wrapped memo, and right now you can buy them on the market for $22,000. I mean, it was a sweet trade, but I didn't go too hard. I made one trade on that and felt good about it and moved on with my life. But yeah, I don't know. Dead forever. I mean, look, last I saw, Danny made a post in the Discord saying, we're done. We're done with that saga, the bullshit. And anyone who wanted out has now been out. And we're now going to hire like somebody new to manage treasury. And like his dream from day one was to build this big ass DAO and support ecosystems. And he's there and planning to do it. So I don't see why fundamentally anyone would think it's dead. But I do understand the sentiment of like, ooh, price is down and it's got no inertia and nobody's talking about it, so it feels dead. For what it's worth, historically, that's usually a good time to pay attention and to start building positions in things that are in fact not dead, but look dead. So maybe there is a signal there for time. I'm personally not rushing over to it. A bit of a sore spot for me. Had a good run with it last year, and I'm just looking at things like Stargate right now, like staring. Because there's, you don't have to be in too many positions in life. You really don't. And there's something I was thinking about shower thoughts today. I saw some guys talking about swinging for the fences, looking for that next 100x, and that's noble. And I think during a down market, there's going to be opportunities to find that. But I wanted to make a point, which is that if you are constantly swinging for the fences, trying to find these massive gains, right? Like to get 100x, you have to not sell on a 50x. To get 100x, you have to not take profit after getting 10x, right? I mean, of course, you can chip away at a position, so only a tiny bit of left, and you still are around for the 100x, whatever. But the point is, when you're swinging for the fences, you miss an opportunity, which is actually one that I learned from Messi last year when I watched it on a stream. He talked about the idea of, having sort of like, I'm just going to use this as like a chalkboard, I guess. But the idea of just like saying, okay, you're going to get your 4x and you're going to sell it, and then you're going to put it into a new one and 4x that. So your 10 turned into 40, and then your 40 turned into whatever. I don't know why I chose those numbers. They're hard to add up quickly. 160. And then you take your 160 and then you 4x that. And so the idea of that rotation game, the rotator. And I don't think, I guess this is my takeaway here. I think there is more to offer you. Oh, disconnected from the server. I think that there's more to be said for somebody who can regularly identify 2 to 4x, even 2 to 10x, whatever, like small multiples for crypto. It sounds absurd in the stock market. I'm like, give me a 2x, I'll take it. But if you can consistently just time yourself out of the market, so like you're taking profits when things are euphoric, and then planting seeds, and then getting, because they're consistently in crypto is times when like everything just goes like 2, 3x, right? Off the lows, like July lows, literally every little shitcoin. You didn't have to spot a gem. You just, anything. All you had to do is buy it during the deep, dirty, nasty fear when the buy volume started flowing back in. And then within a few weeks, everything was up 2 to 3x, 3 to 5x. And then you take the fucking profit. And you wait, this is the hard part, for the opportunity to do that again without getting suckered into trying to, run it up with some other setup where you're buying near the highs just to sell nearer to the highs. Versus somebody who spends a ton of time looking for really bottomed out things, planting a deep seed and waiting sometimes months and months and months, and then not selling 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, 70 X's because they're swinging for those 100 X's. I think rotating and compounding more regular, predictable, reliable, reasonable, and realistic gains, which is a couple small multiples, you rotate that. And I think compounding over time, you will soon find yourself with a stack where you can ape an amount into something where it 2x's and that's your year. Made $1 million, whatever it is. I don't know. I was thinking about that today just because I saw a lot of people talking about like, oh no, I'm not going to buy Stargate because like what? It's going to go up $2. It's only 2x. I said, yeah, but it's like fucking probable, highly probable. So take that high probability. Then this particular person, and if you're watching, power to you because I actually have a big bag of the bag you're talking about too, which is ice. He said, I'm swinging for that 100x. I said, yeah. I could see this thing, if it comes back at all, like there's a lot of room there. Nice buy volume came in the other day. But when's that going to happen? And what's going to happen in the meantime? And if I'm swinging at fences with things like this all the time, I think net I'm losing versus if I'm able to spot, much higher probability, higher volume, deeper liquidity trades where I'm getting in and out on 2 and 3X's, even 50% moves. I don't know. Am I talking crazy? Does that make sense? I don't know. I was ranting about this in my head for like 10 minutes today while I was getting ready. I thought, I'm going to talk about this idea of, because, I know some guys who have just been very good at slow and steady, sell half and a double, sell half and a double, sell half and a double. And they're just super fucking conservative with trying, like they don't look for 100 X's. And they're compounding their accounts like crazy. And I would imagine that, aping in here with the size that they've been able to compound and then like selling through this has paid off an amount that like years ago they would have been like, oh, that's absurd. I just made that in a week. All right. The power of compounding is truly astounding. Oh, look at that. Making rhymes. I'm a rapper. All right. Let's check the chat, guys. Do you have any requests? There's so much happening in the market today, this week. I still think this is kind of like my vision for the year, for what it's worth. Again, my job not being here to say like, when will this uptrend end? It just is an uptrend and it's going to keep going up until it's not an uptrend anymore. And according to my chart here, this is where the uptrend would officially break. Again, loose prediction, just to give you an idea of what I think a washing machine cycle would look like. You know, where you get a bull market and we don't necessarily need a big, nasty 80% bear where like last time the narrative was like, is Bitcoin dead forever? I think we can put that to sleep. I think, you know, dead forever is gone. And now it's a matter of like, what's it worth? It's an argument of how much is it worth? What should it be worth? What could it be worth? When should it be worth that? And so we could still have this long drawn out debate. And I didn't draw it up to the dates, but as it turns out, this is sell in May and walk away. This is your like shitty September that we always seem to get. This would be like an into the end of year rally. And then this would be like, you know, a shitty start to the year, and then kind of like this March, a spring rally. So it actually could work out with some of like the typical timing crap that we see in the markets. Oh, we're going to have a little fun with this one. I'm going to be staring at this until it is invalidated, which it has not been. In fact, you know, for a little bit of time, it was kind of like, oh, damn, it's super off base now. But now like price is kind of catching up. In fact, it's about to tag it. So let's see. Let's see if we just rally hard here through the next little bit. You know, it could be a little bit over here, whatever. But it was just a loose idea, and for what it's worth, I still think this way for the year. And if we do get up into here, and we start to see some weakness, obviously this whole trend line like is stupid right now. It's not real. You know, this whole trend line is based arbitrarily on a line that I drew. So I'll have to redraw it at each one of these fib. But this is what a fib pong would look like. And if you can swing trade it, if I can swing trade it, more importantly, because that's all I'm really here to focus on. I want you guys to trade your thing. But if I can swing trade this successfully, then I'm going to have a really good year, even if price doesn't really fucking move, right? Price, according to this, next year, March would be roughly 45,000. But I could 3x my account by then if I can trade it. So that's kind of my plan. No, Liv, I'm going to take a look at Near just for you, my guy. Or my lady. I don't know. Liv VW. I'm going to say my guy, but I don't know. Odds are you're a dude. All right, I just heard 4 coins that I have not looked at almost ever. So let's just do that. Let's go check out something new today. Near, my God. To the buddy of mine always sends me that song from the Titanic every time everything's nuking. It's sad. Oh yeah, damn it. Fuck. Okay, so I kept hearing, what was the big thing like a month ago? Everyone was talking about a rotation into this ecosystem. Was it Near? Or there was another one? I feel like it was another one. Anyways, it looks similar to this. I kept hearing about it, and I didn't act right away. And then 2 weeks later, everyone was like, "Yeah, it's still going on." And I went and looked at the chart, and I was like, "Damn, actually, price hasn't really moved." I don't think it was Near though. What was that? A few weeks ago. Come on, somebody help me out. It was this new L1. Everyone was talking about this big rotation that was going to happen into it. I know somebody knows it, and they're going to hit it in the chat in like 10 seconds. It's going to be like, that's the one. Maybe it was Near. Anyways, this is what it looked like. Metis, yes, Métis. Let's see if that's broken out yet. And then I swear I'm coming back to Near. But this reminded me of it. No, didn't really happen. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, I am. Classic. Oh, no, I'm not. It is Métis. Is it? Oh, God. All right, let's go back to Near. Quick. Abort. Shit. Is it Métis DAO? Anyways, it was consolidating here. It looked good. Didn't really do much. Near looks good. But look, guys, here's the thing. First of all, we could just get into a rip-roaring uptrend here, and it's like, oh my God, the Bitcoin bull market wasn't over. And all of these things, you're going to look back and be like, oh, the classic reload zone, right? Where were we during those reload zones? Where are we always during the reload zones? Where were we during this reload zone? Right down here, right where you're supposed to buy shit if you want to be a sharp trader. Well, that was last July during the bear market, the big summer bear. Excuse me. So you look back at these and they look so obvious in retrospect, but the fear and emotion during is incredible. It takes a lot of training and practice and discipline to deploy and to have capital to deploy down here. Because when do you deploy your capital, right? Always in the uptrends. Everyone's always buy. That's why it goes up. And if you're not quick to cut your bags and recognize the difference between a dip and a trend reversal, then you end up down here and you're just so fucking underwater. If anything, you're just looking to sell so that you think you can buy lower. And then you sold the reload zone. All that I'm trying to say all that because I caution here, if anything, because we're kind of in no man's land from a purely like TA perspective. I mean, we did just break above on a nice key level. So there might be a little trade here depending on a setup that you like to use. I think, I'd make an argument for like this being a really nice level. So yeah, I mean, hell yeah. You want to get long above here? But I would be cutting any long exposure I have right around, down here, depending on what exchange you're on, what time frame you're looking at. This is the daily. But if we break down below that, then the next support is all the way down at like $11. It's not a huge gap, but you know what I mean? Like it's in this tricky place now where it's not like, oh, just buy the reload zone and wait for euphoria. Euphoria is incoming. And so where there's really two ways I see this ending, and this is probably going to be true for most of the coins we look at, is we're either in this kind of like chop market where we're just going to end up back into like a nice little short reload zone, and it's going to be like, oh no, we're going to the moon, oh no, we're not, shit, oh no, not again. And then like that is what we end up with, more likely, I think. The other option, of course, being what we all want, which is for this to turn into, another major, advance to higher highs. And of course, there can be exceptions, right? Where the market chops and doesn't all just do the same thing. And then there's things maybe like Stargate, a few other newer ones that are just generally in price discovery that are going to get repriced regardless of the broader market. It's rare. It's a rare treat, but it happens. So let's see. I don't know enough about NEAR to say that it will stand out from the pack, but there's a lot of things ripping right now. And I think no matter what, this is likely not the top for it here. It's a weird place to be like, oh, I'm going to just retake this, support resistance level and then suddenly going to top right here. That would be weird. That would be unexpected. That would be unlikely. I think what's more likely is that there, at worst, is some kind of retest here and continue higher. That's a daily. That's like already a month away. So maybe a little quicker. But point is, this is where I'd be expecting big resistance and the next big decision zone. Right now, we're just kind of in no man's land, with bids in the low 13s being like actually a pretty decent spot to suddenly want to get long this thing. If you weren't already, buying this breakout or dipping the toes in the reload zones. That's a quick hot take on NEAR, which for what it's worth, I have heard a lot of people mention. I don't know, that's not always good. But it's always been good news. Oh yeah, NEAR's really cool. Fucking dope. There's just too many things for me to go dive into them all myself and say, I know what these do. Keeper was like Andre's kind of like decentralized Forex project, if I recall correctly, IIRC. So he's kind of out of the picture. Publicly, wouldn't be shocked at all if he was still developing in the background quietly. I think it was pretty clear from his demeanor in public that he was not a fan of being public while being a dev. I think like what a distraction. I get it. I mean, I consider myself an analyst and a trader first, more than a content creator, right? Like I'm not sitting here like my goal this year is to get 100,000 subs and make a living. Like I don't make a living off my subs. I don't make anything off my subs, these subs. I come here to hang with you guys. And so for him as a dev, what does he get out of being public aside from threatened with lawsuits probably and a bunch of bullshit? So I think Andres could still be around. Who knows? Wouldn't be shocked at all if he is, or if at least he decides to come back, but anonymously. And then, can this project survive without him? It should be able to. I mean, if it fails because he left, it was not a very good project. You know what I mean? Like real talk. Decentralized finance, but if one guy leaves, it's lights out. So this chart looks good. Looks like it just reclaimed a level. Man, the whole market just reclaimed this level, didn't it? Looks good right here. I mean, we're seeing a lot of this right now, which is very exciting, because as much as I want to sit here and say like, okay, it's going to be this, hey, damn it. As much as I want to sit here and say like, I like my squigglies, so that's the kind of market we're going to have, I could be wrong. This could be like, whoop, why did I just change my alert? Like, I could be wrong, and it's just, we just had like a little pause, and then it's just going to be fucking crazy bull market. Oh, and all these altcoins are going to 100x. That's possible. And so positioning ourselves here, not pretending we know what's going to happen, but simply saying, okay, the structure has shifted. It is now bullish. We are making higher lows. The buy volume is rising. This is a dip. I don't know where it's going to go, but I know that the probability is it's heading in the right direction. I'm going to buy some. Instead of like, and I've done this in the past where I'm like, oh, well, it's probably just a chop market, so I'm not going to miss much. And then of course, and then I'm wrong. And it's like, oh no, the real bull hadn't even started. And like, where do I then bite the bullet and get in, right? Luckily, I'm not in love with any real names. I mean, I'm in love with a couple, and I have my bags, and I'm not touching them, like AVAX, Solana, Stargate, unmentionables, Hxro, kind of like stuff that I'm not allowed to promote. But you know what I mean? Like, I've got my bags, but like, we edit that out, right, Vic? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, but you know what I mean? Okay, I digress. We're going to go to the next one. I got my bags. I don't think it's rocket science. Okay, let's go look at, so Keeper, yeah, Keeper looks good. So here's the thing, right? Now it's like, oh God, how do you pick? So I would want, because I have no particular attachment to Keeper, Near, one of the others, whatever. I need something to like set things apart. Is there a release coming up? Is there reason to think this will outperform? I don't think that's the one you're talking about. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no one brought that one up. Must be a different Deuce. Deuce coin? God, such a boomer. Like, and then you go and there's always like 10 of something. The copy coins is a sad thing. It's kind of like embarrassing for me. Deuce Finance 2. My guess is you're asking about this one. Gonna go out on a limb here. This looks like the end of a 2-leg extension. Not saying it's the end of the move. Like, hey, I'm long, it's bullish. Yay, keep it going. But there's no opportunity here for me or for anyone, I think, just starting off. Although this is where people will swear to high heaven, you should get long. There's kind of an ABC here that has played out, where you have your first move, and you got your B. You know what we should do? Damn it. We should have some music on. What the hell's going on here, RT? What the hell? Yeah. Took an hour, but I found it. Okay. Tell me if that's too loud. Quickly. There's nothing worse than watching back at the end and finding out that it was just terribly loud and distracting and ruined the show. So, I know we have different opinions about what's too loud. Let's just err on the side of quiet. Because if it in any way impedes the general discussion, it's a no-no. It's really low. Okay, good. Somebody says good volume. Somebody says really low. I'm going to crank it up just a percentage, and I think we'll leave it there. And, of course, double check if it's now too loud. It's very sensitive. It's weird, and it's like Spotify. It's not like a cool thing where I can say 27% volume and have it the same every time. So, yeah, it's low. Okay, low is fine. I don't care. Low is okay as long as it's not like dead air in between my breaths. My old man wheezes. Yeah, I don't know. I've been sitting too much. I got to go for a fucking run. Just found a trail, though, by my new house, new neighborhoods. I've been kind of taking the baby on walks and finding stuff. Found a trail, so I'm going to go run down that trail. I say that. I haven't been on a run in like 3 years, so we'll find out. Might be a walk and a jog mixed together. Yeah, Deuce looks, I wouldn't even say cooked. I mean, it looks really bullish. The latest high came on higher volume, kind of. A little bit of a fall off here. I would be I would be paying myself here. Almost certainly, like 90% of my position. If I was lucky enough to be like spotting it here and then I'm like euphoric right now, I'd be like, fuck yeah, great trade. Let me find the next one. That's just me though. I'm a greasy trader. No loyalty. Pisses people off sometimes. They're like, man, you don't believe in anything. I'm like, wow, I don't believe in holding through entire cycles. Believe in providing liquidity for anyone who wants to buy or sell. But either way, yeah, like this is a pay myself moment for sure. I think I've said that enough. We're going to move on because we can touch more things now, like GRT. GRT is looking primed. Okay. I like primed stuff. Oh my God. Yeah. See, like this is what you want to see in the market, guys. Now it is looking primed. Now my struggle right now is finding things that, you know, I think we actually did today though. You guys, this is probably one of the streams now that we're going to go through a bunch of alts that I'll have to rewatch later. So I can like rewatch objectively and like actually decide if I'm going to buy some of these. Because obviously when I'm live with you guys just flying through, I don't make decisions about, you know, actual trade entries for myself. But sometimes when I just watch them back later on like 1.5x and I'm like, oh yeah, GRT. Look, I want to see GRT get above this level. This is kind of a resistancy level. It looks like it will, judging by, you know, what the market feels and looks like right now. My guess is we will flip this level. There was like a cute, and this is of course the daily, right? So you can get into the grease here, but there was a cute little flip here if you were on lower time frames, right? Buying that retest. And this is also a delayed chart, right? This is coin to market cap data. So I should probably take something like GRT and chart it on a more liquid chart so we can get like real signals. But yeah. Ooh, looks like I was PCZing this thing back in the day. Good thing I didn't buy that. Let's see. Yeah, same kind of thing here. So let's get above that. Why not? Why be the resistance? Because this is a pretty sick level, right? Tap, 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 tap. So it's probably going to get tapped from above at some point. And then you just have to kind of detach and not get too attached because it might be like, you know, you might come into this resistance first and then it's like, oh no, it's not a bear market or bull market anymore. And then it's like, oh yeah, it was. But the patient trader gets filled on those and it's just so sexy when it happens. Oh, like seriously, if you guys haven't experienced what it feels like to like stay your hand during the bullish breakout and actually just like spot and identify and plant bids at these levels, and then on some day when some news comes out and it's not good news and then the whole market just dips into these levels and then all you see is like fill alerts and you just sit there and you stomach it and you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna, you know, it's my fucking trading plan. I'm just gonna roll with this. And you let your bids fill and then the next days come by and the whole market's rallying again and you're just sitting there like a rock star and that beautiful little dip filled all your bids. And then when everybody's talking about what they're going to buy, some of them are buying from you because your take profit just came in and you just 2x'd your bag or whatever. If you haven't done that yet, even tried it, do yourself a favor. Peel off some trivial amount of your portfolio if you just, you know, if you're not comfortable doing it with any size, because it is an uncomfortable thing. Good trading is a very uncomfortable sport, activity, hobby, whatever you want to call it. Peel something off and just do it. Just do it. Insist doing it. And then like also part of that is being willing to miss it. Now I'm going to give you an example of that because I don't do that very often. I'm a very fly by the seat of my pants trader like over the last year because I got really apey. And I left my sort of bread and butter that I talk about. I preach and teach what is the best way to do it, which is the way I typically used to or always used to. But admittedly, you know, fell off that horse. And it worked out because it was a bull. But I very, very badly need to get back to that because it's so goddamn effective and satisfying. And but I did it once. Shout out to Rob Levy, who couldn't be here today. I did actually chat with him though, and he says let's do a stream soon. So confirming Rob on stream very soon, probably next week. And we're gonna roll with that. Now, he liked KNC. You guys remember that? Because of all this buy volume and all the red days, and he was noticing KNC was outperforming. And because one day on stream, And I said, I'm going to go set an alert. And if it comes into this reload zone, I'm going to buy it. He's like, don't be a pussy. Set a bid. And I did. And I went and set a bid on the sweet spot at 155, I think it was. Okay. And I forgot about it. It was a small bid. That's the key. You don't want it to be like your whole portfolio. You stare at it all day and it's way too sweaty, right? So it was like it was a reasonable size bid, something I could just kind of like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about that. And I had an alert. And during the Russian invasion, February 24th, of all the things that were happening and all the bullshit and all the panic and fear, I got one alert and it said, you've been filled on KNC. All these cells coming into my KNC bid. And look at that. And within days, it was the top performer. It was crazy. It was euphoric. It wasn't a massive win. It was a nice trade. What would have amounted to like a month's pay back when I was a teacher. It was like, fuck yeah. In a couple days, hell yeah. But man, did it feel good because it's the way I'm supposed to trade. And it was like getting back to the good stuff. And had I been wrong, I would have had to cut it down here. Very quickly found out that I was correct. And now, when probably someone out there is like, hey, did you see KNC? It's so bullish. Well, what do we got? Higher high, higher high, higher high. I bet the momentum indicators say that it's ready to sell. Yep. Well, the momentum indicator, we have a lower high, lower high, lower high. So just like clockwork, as the RSI is rolling over, and the MACD is like non-existent. There's no momentum left here. We're in the short reload zone. In fact, fuck, I should be looking to short KNC. The bears just woke up on volume. My God, this just turned into a short setup. Especially if the whole market's about to do a little pullback here, right? We talked about that earlier. If we like Bitcoin to come and dip into this PCZ. I don't have any structure here yet, so I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. This is a daily after all. It's a daily uptrend. Still uptrend, so don't want to rush to short it, but there might be like an hourly short setting up here or something where, watch this, like fuck, why not set some asks here and risk against this high, because this was a fairly aggressive blow-offy type high. So like if that gets exceeded, very easily invalidated. Oh, it's not bearish at all. But if it just pops into here on exhaustion, beep, boo, that's usually how those things go. It's usually how the dump starts, with a little FU. So actually might, on the rewatch, this is probably the one I'm going to take. Anyways, going back to the daily, into things with like 10, 20, 40% of your portfolio because you feel like you have a small portfolio and you can't afford to be strategic. Do yourself a favor, and just for sport, just for the data, just to prove to yourself that it can be done, try something like this. Find some levels. Watch the reload zone video that I made and draw some fibs and say, hey, look, this breakout happened, so it is bullish, but I'm going to wait for the dip. These throwbacks, they just come in. It's just crazy. They just do. And fill yourself some bids on the next dip, because I think the trend here is very bullish across the board. This is actually one of the few coins that looks cooked. Looks like it's up in the short reload zone. The momentum's falling off. The buy volume's rolling over. The bear volume's waking up. KNC, not on my green list. Might short. Okay, sorry. Nobody even asked about KNC. But that was a good example of a trade that I made that, and what I want, if anything else, if nothing else. Oh no. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. What the hell? Send more. I'm going to refresh my YouTube page. One sec. I don't think that changes anything for you guys, but it might. Open widget. Send more video. God damn it. We should be running smoothly. Like, imagine having gigabit hardlined internet connection with a computer that's supposed to be super cool. NVIDIA, 3090X, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of RAM. And then being told that there's not enough of something. I can't buy more. In fact, I bought too much. All my techie friends were like, dude, that's overkill. You're not doing 3D rendering. Just buy this. Well, I went and bought Hxro. YouTube says it's not enough. We'll find out. Okay, good. BK says, let's go. Mr. Live, welcome, brother. Good to have you. Yeah, okay, so back to what I was saying. If nothing else, rather than like, hey, you know, what price, when, move, where, buy there, that's not really the kind of YouTube I want to run. You know, that's the salesman YouTube. That's that BS that people like to get on where they say, I know what's going to happen. Follow me and you will be rich. Look at all my cars. You know, that's that bullshit. If you ever see somebody selling you that, they are selling you something and you should run. I'm more into like, if I could create an experience for somebody watching this stream, and that's the experience I just described. You know, that feeling of going from randomly aping around into shit and feeling that pit in your chest fear because you have no any fucking idea what you're doing because you're following what other people say to do, and then in between what they're saying you have no idea what to do. And that's where I started. That's where we all start, right? That's where you kind of come from naturally. If you could move from that into an experience where you plan something based on a set of rules that are simple, repeatable, like draw this fib, you know, program it into the pump chaser zone, the PCZ. Say, I know that ETH looks bullish now because I saw it break above these previous highs, but I'm not going to chase it. I'm going to wait and bid down here, and when the sky is falling in a few days and everyone's freaking out, I'm going to fill a bid. And I'm going to stomach it because on that day I don't want to buy because everyone's selling. But then you wait, and a week or two later, you feel like a champ because you ended up with something like this. And you were the guy here on Mr. Shit Your Pants Day filling the bid. Guy or girl, man or woman, gentleman or lady, what have you. That's the experience I want to create for somebody. If even one person does that after watching one of these streams someday, I'm not saying do that to ETH, this level will hit, you'll definitely make money. No, that bullshit. I don't know. Probably get stopped out. I don't know. But it's like just that experience. Oh, that's valuable. I wouldn't get paid more for that. In fact, I don't get paid anything. But it would make me feel good. I would go to sleep at night. I'd say, damn, good purpose. I did something special. So I'm not going to shovel shit in your ear, man. But that's what I'm here for. Trying to create some of these like be your own boss experiences. And if you really, really, really want to take this shit seriously, do like some of the viewers have. And I actually don't get paid for this either, but fly over to TRI and sign up for their course. No, it's actually really dope, and it's changed my life. And I met a guy in Barcelona. You know who you are. I'm not going to out you. And we hung out for about an hour. We had a few beers together, and he was a great dude. And he was just like, dude, I'm in, halfway through level 1, and it's exactly what I wanted. It's fucking awesome. I'm learning all this shit for myself. That's where I learned all this shit. I mean, I made up the PCZ myself, but it was from concepts that I discovered there. And I think that they actually kind of talk about it over there now. So that's flattering. Brian affectionately calls it Collins level. He doesn't know my name's RT, but he's a great dude, so I don't mind. Let's look at ID. There was some kind of news today in their thing. I think Bob Reed from ID is going to be talking in Vegas at some finance thing. So that's, it is what it is. But look at that. It's a good looking chart. I know you guys are going to say, RT, you're just a big dusty old bag holder, and you're right. But nothing's changed, clearly, as you can see here in the price. But no, it is what it is. My investment thesis is that this will be around and that it will grow in popularity and that the token demand will rise and that the price will go up. That's my thesis. It was my thesis back here. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet doesn't make me wrong. It just makes me less smart, poorly timed. And it is really something that is like speaks to the value of not going all in, moving in small bits. Because while when I first got stuck in this position, I say stuck because even if I wanted to, it's not one that I want to like jump out of and try to get back in later. I'm just going to like grind it out. That was kind of the plan. But from May 2021, that's almost a year ago. Could I have done something more effective with this capital? Fuck yeah. But how do I know that? I don't know. So you come up with a trading plan that's like, I'm just going to focus on growing the rest of my portfolio around my ID bag. At one point, it was like one of my larger holdings. Now it's one of my smaller ones. I have been successful at ignoring it. And maybe it's going to come roaring back this year and hit this chaos PRZ, which is only $2, basically where it already peaked. What I'm really looking at is like a much, this trough this big ass base, when they break out from these, if it does, always if, the longer the base, the bigger the blast. That's a true story. That's a thing. So I don't mind. I'm just, at this point, it's like a meme. I know people on, anytime something happens, people on Twitter, they say, hey, RT, I know you've got this bag. I'm like, yeah, thanks for reminding me, bro. No, we're going to look at AVAX. Oh my God. AVAX, basically my favorite bag. Buddy of mine recently asked me, he's very passive. He said, I'm not trying to like stare at this shit all day. What should I just park some shit in? I had a couple shit coins. I want to consolidate my shit. I don't want to get stuck in dead bags. I said, you know what? Because of the merge and blah, 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 probably ETH. But we had another conversation today, and I said, honestly, though, if it was me, and I just want to know, like, is this thing going to be around in 5 years? And if the answer is yes, then it's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin or ETH. Everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin or ETH. It's like, no, there's other ones that I think will be around in 5 years that I think do have more potential X return. And AVAX is my favorite one. It was my favorite before I went to the AVAX summit last week. It is my favorite after I got back, but even more of my favorite. I just loved it. I loved the energy. I'm going to show you, where is it? This guy, great example. Loved the energy. They had these like e-sport racers. This guy, Devin from Ava Labs, we had a nice chat. He, one of many smart, great guys over there. And it's funny because I couldn't even tell you exactly, ETH, it's like the ETH Foundation, right? There's no like team. AVAX does have a team. It's got a bit more of a direct pipeline of development and funding. I don't think ETH lacks for either development or funding. So I'm not sitting here and saying AVAX is even in competition with ETH, other than for the point of the conversation I had earlier with my buddy. I would actually rather go back and tell him, but this is the thing, the merger for ETH is such a narrative. And Gunny, who you guys know from DeltaFi, basically, and this is like, he and Rob, when they say, oh yeah, my buddy was talking about this, what they're really saying is like some, big investor who you should be listening to was talking about, right? So like when they say like, oh, my buddy this, like their buddies are guys you listen to. And he said like everyone he knows is licking their chops for ETH right now. So there's that. But if it was a 1-2 and I said in 5 years, which one do I think will have a greater X return from this day for its name, I would say it's AVAX. And I'm so bullish on it. And I loaded up foolishly, not in my zone. I'm a little emotional about AVAX, so I didn't load here because this was the Russian invasion, remember? And then it started to break out, and I said, damn it, I don't have my AVAX. So I actually did buy low 80s here at resistance like a dummy because I thought it was breaking out. Broke my rule. Sure enough, I got my perfect opportunity here at 66 in the sweet spot just days later. I didn't add there, but I did add this green candle when it started to break out. I was like, got me. So low 70s, low 80s, holding strong. I'm not doing anything with it. I know there's yield opportunities for AVAX. Maybe I should. At one point, I loaded it into like Aave and some other dusty DeFi ones, and it didn't have much return. Like I looked weeks later and I was like, that's not even worth the contract risk or whatever. I'd just rather have it locked in my wallet. So I've got some locked up. I love it. I think I said it before. I said it again. I really think this, in my mind, is kind of like something I see just being worth $1,000 someday. Call me crazy. It's not meant to be like a headline, thumbnail prediction, but that's personally where I'm looking. Something like in that 4-digit shit. Like who knows how it's going to get there? I don't know. But every single time there's a fee paid, it's burned. So there's less AVAX every single day. And there's tons of AVAX. So that's going to take a long time to price in. But that could be 5 years. That could be 10 years. And there's so much being built on it. They're so friggin' receptive and friendly. And then you've got your horizontal scaling, your subnets. So every time they have a killer dApp like CryptoKitties coming in, they don't just crush the network like Krabata has been doing. They're going to move on to their own little chain. Now, the one thing that's like hit and miss around Bull Bear is like DFK launched their own subnet. I think that was actually today. And I found out at the conference when it was $5, should have bought some, that in fact, Jewel is going to be the gas on their subnet. I was sitting like 5th row when they announced that, and it was trading at $5, and I was like, oh, cool. And then it didn't immediately moon on that announcement. I mean, it looks like it did here 2 days later, but I mean, in the hourly and the 2 and 3 and 4 hours that passed, it didn't really move up. And I didn't have my laptop with me, so I was like, whatever. But yeah, what an opportunity to announce that it's basically an L1 token now, is Jewel. Now, does that mean every single subnet is not going to be paid with gas in AVAX? So like suddenly all these subnets, and every time something moves onto a subnet, it's actually less bullish for AVAX because it's just going to use its own thing and do its own thing. How does that validation come back to AVAX? Why is it, is that subnet just its own L1 now, running on its own gas? I don't know. Does demand for Jewel and DeFi kingdoms drive demand for AVAX still, despite the fact that it's on its own L1 that uses now Jewel for gas? I don't actually know the answer to that question. I should look that up or ask that. I'm going to ask that. I'm going to ask Luigi. Maybe somebody here knows that. I feel like on the back end, being on a subnet gives you some kind of like security coverage from AVAX, and maybe there is some kind of like, but it's an indirect thing now, right? Because DeFi kingdoms could blow up, huge demand for that subnet, for that gas, but it's not AVAX. That's not bearish on AVAX, it's just less bullish. Either way, I think it's absurd to think this will never see a new all-time high someday, given just even the developer growth that I've seen and the transactional growth. And then it's just like, who cares if it's 1,000? Who cares what I say? It's just going to be more than it is now. That's all I care about. So we'll see. I'll probably draw some crazy fib extension at some point, like right now. And then, we'll start here. And we'll just play it level by level. It's been working so far. Got us in during this. This was like the big ecosystem fund announcement. Dips were for buying. Then we had that crazy squiggly that took us all the way up into here. And then it was like in the 120s. We were like, hey, we can get out of here right here in the short reload zone. And, we're just going to trade the shit out of it along the way. And some of it I'm just going to hold. I could talk about AVAX all day. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Coach Papa Vic, for bringing that up. I'm bridging over as we speak. Oh, God. Yeah, so, yes, Avalanche is quickly becoming the chain for GameFi. And I struggle to take seriously new pitch decks that arrive in my inbox over at Magnus Capital for GameFi that is built on BNB and other, Polygon. I just don't like those chains as much. And if I was building and I was serious about building, and so, of course, part of being an early investor and part of being an incubation fund, as we are, is to then guide them and say, hey, have you met the Ava Labs team? So we are doing our part to bring games over to AVAX as well. But yeah, I read a few, really cool looking trailer. I was like, oh, this game looks dope. But they're building on BNB, who just announced some weird watered down version of Subnets, which just struck me as like so BNB, It's like, hey, we're going to fork ETH, create a 12 or whatever it is, a validator node set, and run a smart chain. And look, that's cool because a lot of people don't care about the decentralized thing. They just want like the cheap yields and the DeFi, and then BNB had a crazy season and all that. Kind of broke the chain, right? Pancake swap, I often find it's a struggle to use. It just felt like dusty tech. Anyways, I'm not here to shit on other chains. I've never loved BNB. Obviously, I missed the 2020 bull for DeFi BNB summer, or I would have a different opinion, right? But yeah, and then they announced some kind of subnet thing, which oddly, Eamon, our Turkish god king, the sort of brainchild behind AVAX, wrote a tweet that says like it was inevitable that somebody would try to copy our subnet infrastructure with some watered down poultry, blah, blah, blah. It was funny because he doesn't usually, I don't think it was overtly negative, but it was definitely like a little poo-poo on this new thing, which I thought was kind of funny coming from him. See, he's usually quite positive. Anyways, yes. So Paul Young Jr. says subnets help burn more AVAX. Yeah, I assumed they did. But when they're using Joule as gas, I just lost in my head how that works. So I have to learn more stuff. They must have a validator. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So yeah, Paul has confirmed, which basically was, a given, I think, in my head, but I just didn't actually know for sure. I like to know stuff. Don't they have to pay something for the AVAX for the net? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you want to be on our subnet, you got to load this friggin' node with 10,000 AVAX or something. So for every subnet, there'll just be some validator locking up a whole bunch or something. I don't know. You know how it is. All right, let's get. We're in an hour and 20 minutes in. Got some good energy. Let's keep going for a few more minutes. Let's take a look at Solana. Where my Sol Bros at? My Soul Bros. Look at this. These are kind of ugly. They're distracting. I wanted to delete them today, and I thought, what's the whole point of putting them on there was to watch them play out. We're coming into the first major resistance on Solana, so expect to see resistance. This will probably be the end of the move, the breakout move. And that doesn't mean like the move. It just means, like leg one, and then it's like wee. So I would expect to see this be like not a great area to be buying long short term, I guess is how I would put that. Who knows? Solana has been known to do some pretty filthy things that just break rules. I've been wrong before, but I'd like to add, if I could. That's not code for I missed, I definitely loaded in the mid 80s, but not all in, of course. So my next ad will probably be in the 100 area. And that makes sense if you like the PCZ as well, because that's right where that is. The 0.5 throwback is almost $100 exactly if this marks the local high. So keeping an eye on the low 100 area, like at 100, 101, 99, whatever, that's where I would like to purchase more Solana. And this looks good, guys. Don't get me wrong. Looking for a dip here, like this is what you want to see. A fat downtrend, an exhale in an overcooked market. This thing was overheated. I don't want to buy that. I was selling that. This is what I want. Because you can't get 100x very easily, at least after 100x, right? It's like it's hard. The best opportunities in markets come from the bear. And it sounds annoying when you're newer to the market and you see some OGs. And I'm not self-proclaiming myself that. I just mean like I come on Twitter and I'd see guys be like, yeah, great, the market's going down, I could buy more. And that used to piss me off because I didn't have any extra cash because I was already all in. And I didn't like seeing number go down. But I get it now because it is in these troughs that the big opportunities are born. You say, oh man, you're so lucky. How did you get that crazy return? It's not luck. It's people that positioned themselves during this kind of stuff. Right? Where was the biggest opportunity here? I feel like I'm ranting. You guys are like, dude, this is such an obvious comment you're making. I get it. This is a 4,800% rally. The best opportunities came during the grossest moments. December 20, summer, July, right? We've gone over this ad nauseum. So anyways, why I'm so excited about Solana? Because we had a really nice dip after an extremely strong rally right into the sweet spot. 702, tap, 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 basically 3. Front run slightly, went past it slightly, touched it perfectly. $79. The bears fell asleep. This is where they took over, right? The bears started taking over. We said, oh shit, that's done. The bears are in town. Get the fuck out. Cool it. Short it if you must, but at least get to stablecoins. Run for cover. The bears were still in control here. The bulls hadn't woken up yet. The bears were still in control. The bulls. Good morning, bull. Hello, how are you? And then if you want to get really cheeky, you don't even have to chase that candle because you know what you can do. We're going to do it right now. We're going to just draw a little tiny reload zone on here. And I bet there's Dan's level. Old Gunny right here at the 88.6. After the bulls announce that they are awake, while everything still feels super bearish. And then you just draw your little fib up and you fill in this little reload zone within a bigger reload zone. And now we got the breakout. So I added here, not perfectly, not, filling bids where I always say we should, but I bought through this. I think probably even like $86 is where one of my entries was. Because again, like I said, not perfect anymore. Like not trying to be like setting my bids and missing or hitting. I'm just like fly by the seat of my pants a little bit. But yeah, I picked up some 86. And now that I've seen this, I'm like, damn, that's confirmation. This was like I'm pretty sure the bulls are back. Now I know they are. Give me that next dip. That looks like $100. I will tonight. That's it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go set some spot bids at now 100 is a big friendly round number. If you stick your bids at 99.98, there's just a high probability you're getting front run or blasted through. So 101, between $1 and $1.01. I'm not going to put it like right at $100. That's just where everyone's bid's going to be. And it's such a high probability of getting front run, or like I said, or you're just wrong and it's just going to, everything's getting, shit on anyways. So probably like $1.10, you know, $100, $10, $100, 40 cents, something like that. I think that's a really, really good spot for Solana. Like from this scale, looking at this whole thing, what better place to bid Solana than after a strong breakout, after everything we just talked about, and then that first throwback? If we get it, you know, and if we don't, and we just keep running up, maybe we even like break above here and we get a little like, oh my God, RT, I missed it. And then we have a new PCZ, whatever. You know, we follow it up. We play it by ear. We let it be what it's going to be. We don't try to tell the market what to do. We just observe what it is and then react accordingly. Solana AVAX. Probably my two things right now that I think if I just wanted to get that 45% cash that I've still got lingering back in, probably those are the two. I'm just like digging. I'm comfortable with my AVAX position right now. I took more size in that, and I'm just like, it's long term. I'm chilling. But there's probably a trade there too. In fact, today, 2 hours and a half, we're going to get a new confirmation, which would be a new daily candle close above this, which is a big level. It's a big level, I say. How far does that go? That's like a big level. So yeah, we're gonna get a really nice confirmation here. Now the sick thing is, like, I have this short reload zone drawn on here, and of course that means that Mr. Old Dusty RT is gonna be looking for like weakness up here and looking for that chop. But the really exciting part is, like, Rob always tells me, take that shit off. Rob loves to say, take that short RLZ off the chart, man. Let's like open up the sky. Let's like talk about bull markets here, because objectively, transactions, wallets, unique users, things being built on it, like, they're exploding on AVAX. I'd love to go look at some on-chain data. I don't have it prepared. It's late in the stream. I'm not going to do it. But maybe next stream, or maybe somebody can hit me up on Twitter, say, yo, check out these on-chain metrics, and I'll tweet them out and we'll talk about them. Because look at this. Objectively, this is bullish market structure on the other side of a downtrend as part of a much broader high time frame uptrend. And what that really means is Rob is right. Even in his absence, I hear his voice. That's what good mentors do. They live in your head. And he says, take that short reload zone off of here. Because what we've got here is a continuation signal of this uptrend. Like, so maybe I shouldn't be comfortable with my AVAX position, because everything I'm talking about it tells me it's such a high probability bet to make a new high, and that this chart tells me that that could come much sooner than like, oh, 1 2-year bear market and then it'll happen. Like, maybe it's by the end of June. I don't know. Maybe it's by the end of April. So exciting. Guys, this stuff is so exciting to me. If you're not fired up, if you're getting beat down, I'm just going to end with this as we start to wrap up the day. If you don't enjoy crypto, find out why and fix that. Identify what you're doing wrong very quickly, like right now, right this minute. Sit down, write it out. Because, and then, like, look, dude, I struggled in January, February. Trust me, everybody did. Nobody enjoyed it. And there's probably one guy with a bunch of shorts on who's like, aha, but it's unnatural. You're kind of like a weirdo if you really enjoy down markets and like short the shit out of them, or you're just a great trader and it sucked. It was depressing. I was depressed. But if you cannot find the excitement and the joy in this, and you're really struggling to find that, figure out why. It's probably because you don't have a plan, good criteria. You haven't learned this stuff, and education will set you free. Such a teacher thing to say, but that's who I am. That's what I was. Actually, I'm going to go back. I decided today I'm going to go back and teach this year, because I have to kind of quit. I moved, but I'm going to like fly back in to where I used to live and just like teach like supply teacher for a day. I'm going to go be a sub. Backwards hat. Be like, what's up? I'm back. Decided that today. So that's exciting. Kind of like butterflies. I'm like, oh damn, I hope I don't drop an F-bomb. I swear so much now. As a teacher, obviously I can't. Primary school teacher. Just roll in there and be like, what's up, bitches? And be like, oh, Mr. Tinkler, what did you just say? So we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. So find your joy in life. Find your joy in life. Find something in the market that you're excited about. If you haven't yet, go to a conference. Some guys I met at the conference last week that hadn't been to one, they said, oh, this is awesome. Everyone's so nice. I'm just meeting people. I'm chatting. AVAX stuff in particular, very friendly. Solana was awesome. AVAX, admittedly, I mean, they were both a lot of fun. AVAX was like a younger, more energized crowd. I think Solana felt, I'm not even going to bash Solana. It was just a great conference too, but man, that was good. I know, and there's a huge shortage of sub teachers, so I'll just like do my day and feel like I'm nailing it. Anyways, so yeah, I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you're doing well. Obviously, the market right now is a little easier to love, but if it's not, I'm telling you, man, education will set you free. Fly over to TRI, check it out. Nicest community you'll ever be, and then you can learn this shit. And you can do it on your own, and you don't have to listen to salesmen on YouTube, which I intend to never be. But I also don't stream as much as them because I'm not selling anything, right? Those guys will be live 6 times a day because they want all the subs and all the ad revenue and all the rewards and things that comes and upsells. And hey, BB's right here in the chat, the rational investor right there. There he is. Says, thanks, Colin. Appreciate the nice. Yeah, appreciate you too, brother. You changed my life. So I'm going to talk about you all the time. Yeah, he's an absolute gem of a human. And he's right there here in the chat. So say hello to the man who taught me all this stuff. And then, as an innovator, you can take some of these ideas and you can make them your own and you can find your own setups. That's the beauty of it. Take the concepts and build your own stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, I'm in like full blown out end of stream rant mode. I already said it's wrapping up, so half you guys are already checked out. We're going to go back to the studio, guys. I loved being back today. So whoever it was on Twitter who just said when stream, and I decided, oh, fuck it, we'll just do it. Thank you. Because I was like half taking a nap and I was like, damn it, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm so tired. Yeah, Jedi Hornet gets it. He says, BB's a gem. I decided to do, you went the other way. Well, that's okay. Blockmates. Anyways, thank you for getting me out of bed today to do this stream because I was just kind of being lazy. And instead I jumped on the Peloton, did a little workout. Got a smoothie, and I'm kicking it with you guys. And God, AVAX looks good. Let's just like take this in for a moment. Oh, it's not on the screen anymore. Anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. I am going to come back with Rob Levy, hopefully next week, and we'll get his thoughts on the market and this yield curve inversion, this 10 and 2-year bond, whatever that is, that signals a recession every single time. Oh my God. Hopefully that doesn't count for crypto. Maybe it's such a tiny little seed in the world that it can still grow within a broader unwinding of what I've always considered to be a very scammy, overinflated market. Anyways, that's why I don't have any stocks, except for mushroom stocks. I have 2. They're down.